Hey everyone, welcome back. You guys sent in some really fascinating stuff this time around. A lot
Yeah.
to unpack. We're diving into a topic that's practically inescapable these days,
hmm
data.
Right.
But we're going way beyond just, privacy settings and those pesky cookies that follow you around the internet.
Mm.
We're talking about how data is like this hidden force intertwined with capitalism itself.
Absolutely.
You all shared some pretty heavy articles and lectures with us, and it seems like you're ready to go deeper than those attention-grabbing headlines, huh?
It's true, yeah. We'll definitely be getting into some dense academic stuff on communication and society,
Okay.
but I promise we're going to make it engaging.
I like it, I like it.
One of the most interesting things is how all of this connects back to economic theories from like the 1800s.
Ah, wow, okay.
Even ideas like commodity fetishism, which we'll explain, don't worry, and the rise of the prosumer.
Prosumer.
Yeah,
Okay, now that one's new to me, but I'm intrigued already.
yeah.
Where do we even start with something this big? Like, the articles kept mentioning political economy, which honestly sounds a little intimidating
All right.
for those of us who don't spend our days reading, economics textbooks.
I get it. But it's simpler than it sounds. Political economy basically just means looking at the economy not as this like separate thing,
Okay.
but as deeply connected to society, culture, power dynamics, basically, to your everyday life.
Right, yeah, it's all connected.
Exactly. And, early political economists, they were trying to understand how capitalism was impacting the world. And a lot of their insights are still relevant today, especially when we think about the digital age.
It's like that saying, follow the money, right?
Yeah.
Except here, it's follow the data. And man, it seems to lead us everywhere.
Everywhere.
Speaking of following, one article even mentioned Karl Marx. Are we dusting off Das Kapital for this one?
We could. Whether or not you agree with his whole critique of capitalism,
Sure.
Marx was one of the first to really highlight how economics could shape how we relate to each other, how we function as a society.
Okay, yeah.
But it's important to remember that reducing everything down to just economics
Yeah.
can be an oversimplification. We
Right.
got to consider the social and symbolic aspects of data, too.
Okay, so it's not just about the numbers themselves, but what they represent, the stories they tell.
Yeah.
How they influence how we behave, even if we don't realize it.
Exactly.
Which brings us to this whole commodification thing.
Yes.
It sounds very academic again.
Right. Think about it this way. Okay. So you're scrolling through your music app,
Okay.
listening to your favorite tunes. You probably think, like, you're just enjoying the music.
Right.
But each song you pick, every pause, every time, you're like, ugh, go back. It's all data.
Yeah.
And that data is valuable
How so?
because it reveals your preferences, your tastes,
So you're saying my deep love for 90s boy bands is suddenly a commodity.
Exactly. Music streaming services can take that info, package it up all nice, and sell it.
So,
Advertisers, record labels,
Uh-huh.
they can even use it to influence, which new artists get signed or what songs get recommended to you. Your individual taste, as we think of it, becomes part of this whole big system
yeah.
that's designed to predict and profit from those desires. That's commodification in action.
So hold on. We're not just consumers of music, we're also products, in a way.
Kind of, yeah.
Our data is the product.
You got it. And when you bring the internet into the mix, this process explodes.
Yeah.
It's not even just that we're buying things online. It's that every click, like every scroll, every late night scroll session when you should be sleeping, it's tracked, it's analyzed.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's monetized. And this is what's called digital capitalism.
Which means
Yeah.
what exactly? Like what makes it different from, say, regular capitalism, if we can even call it that?
Well, it's not just about selling digital products. It's taking that entire process of turning things into commodities and digitizing it. And our role has changed too. Remember audience commodity?
Vaguely. Remind me.
It basically meant we were just passively consuming content alongside ads.
Right, okay.
But now we're prosumer commodities. You're not just watching those ads anymore. Your data, your engagement, you are the product that's constantly being generated and fed back into this massive system.
Okay, that's a little unsettling, to be honest. So are we all just working for free for these tech giants every time we post a selfie or rant about our favorite show? Are we being exploited? What do you think? We'll be diving into that very question right after this, so don't go anywhere.
So we're products now.
Yeah.
Great. But how does that even work? It's not like Facebook is selling little containers of my hopes and dreams, right? Not exactly.
Yeah.
To really get how this prosumer commodity thing makes money, we have to understand how platforms work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, we all use them, but
Right.
do we really get what's going on behind the scenes?
Right. A key concept here is economies of scale.
Okay.
And this is huge EE when we're talking about data. Like, think about how much Google knows about your search habits,
Oh, yeah.
what you're curious about, what you buy,
Hmm.
maybe even what keeps you up at night.
Please don't remind me.
Right.
Late night Google searches, they could be a confessional.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Blend
But here's the thing. Google knows all this because millions of us are using it every day.
Yeah.
That massive, massive amount of data from all those searches, that's their edge.
So it's not just that they have data. It's like, how WMECH they have. Exactly.
So my weird late night searches only matter because they're added to millions of others.
Precisely. And that's just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
This leads to something called network effects.
Right.
The more users a platform has,
Right.
the more data they collect, which makes it even more attractive to new users.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right.
It's like that thing where, remember when everyone was suddenly on Facebook?
Yes.
Because everyone else was already there.
It's true.
It's like peer pressure, but like digital style.
Exactly.
Okay, so big platforms, they just get bigger because of data.
Mm-hmm.
But is that always a bad thing?
Well, it creates what some call a data monopoly,
Okay.
where just a handful of companies, right, like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple,
Right, the whole gang's here.
they hold a massive amount of information.
Yeah.
And this raises questions about, competition, about innovation.
Right, like does anyone else even stand a chance at this point?
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
But to really dig into this, we got to talk about how platforms actually use all this data. The research you shared pointed to three main mechanisms: datafication, commodification,
Right.
and selection.
Okay, datafication, that one sounds kind of obvious, turning everything into data. But what's that actually look like in practice?
It's not just that we're online, right? It's that every click, every scroll, every minute you spend watching that, cat video.
They're so cute, though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But all of it, it's tracked, it's analyzed,
Yeah.
it's categorized.
My digital self is basically this giant spreadsheet.
Kind of, yeah. But a very, very valuable one.
Yeah.
Because this brings us to commodification.
Which is taking all that data and packaging it up into something that can be bought and sold.
It's like a digital fire sale.
Yeah.
Everything must go.
Pretty much. Your preferences, habits, even those late night searches,
Oh, no.
they all become part of this package deal that companies are, frankly, very eager to buy.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is how platforms make bank.
Okay, this is where it starts to feel a little creepy.
Yeah.
So datafication tracks it, commodification packages it up, and then selection comes in. Does that mean, they're choosing what I see based on all this?
Exactly. This is where algorithms come in.
Okay.
They're not just suggesting products you might like on Amazon.
Right.
They're actually shaping your entire online experience.
Wow.
By deciding what you see and don't see, often without you even realizing it. Think about your personalized news feeds or curated recommendations.
Hold on. You're saying my news feed isn't showing me, the most important news of the day.
It's complicated.
It's showing me what some algorithm thinks I want to see.
It's more nuanced than that. But yes, algorithms are designed to keep you engaged,
Okay.
which isn't always the same as showing you a neutral or
Okay.
comprehensive view.
Okay.
And that's how we get these filter bubbles.
Right.
You start seeing more of what you already agree with
Yeah.
and less of what might challenge your views.
So in trying to give us what we want, they're shaping what we think. This is getting kind of philosophical.
It is. And it gets even more complex when you consider who's actually involved here,
Right.
right? This isn't just you and your newsfeed.
Right.
These companies, Google, Apple, the whole gang,
Hmm.
they're in constant competition with each other.
Oh, yeah. Like a digital turf war with our data as the prize.
You could say that.
Oh.
Remember the whole Android versus iOS debate?
Oh, yeah. People get really passionate about their phones.
That's just a taste of the platform wars that are happening.
Wow.
They're vying for your attention, for your data, for your loyalty, because at the end of the day, that's what translates to power and to profit.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We have.
Data monopolies, filter bubbles, our digital selves being auctioned off.
It's true.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
And it gets even more complex when we add AI into the mix, right?
Exactly. And potentially even more impactful.
Right, because it's not just about
Yeah.
selling us more stuff anymore, right?
Right.
This is the future is being shaped right now.
Exactly. And all of this data that we've been talking about, the collecting, the analyzing, the commodifying, it's not just for targeted ads anymore. It's
Right.
what's fueling AI. It's the raw material that these systems are learning from.
So you're saying our data is shaping the actual intelligence that will shape our world.
Kind of a mind-blowing thought, isn't it?
Yeah, a little intimidating, if I'm being
I'd
honest.
understand that, yeah.
Because if just a handful of companies
Right.
control the data and the AI,
Hmm.
then like, who gets to decide what the future looks like?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where the idea of democratizing innovation comes in.
Okay, what is that?
It's basically about making sure that the way we develop and use AI,
Yeah,
it's not just driven by, who's going to make the most money.
right, right.
It should be driven by a broader set of values.
Okay, I like that.
Making sure that everyone has a say in how this technology shapes us.
Because it's not just about who gets to build the future.
Right.
It's about who gets to live in it.
Right, exactly. That's the big takeaway here.
So what do I do about it? Like, am I trading my smartphone in for a carrier pigeon? How do we take back some control?
I admire your dedication.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that extreme, thankfully.
Okay,
The first step is just awareness,
okay,
understanding how these systems work,
okay.
what they can do, how they can impact us.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we can make smarter choices.
Oh,
The tech we use, the companies we support, even what data we're okay with sharing.
so not disconnecting, but being more mindful about how we connect.
Exactly. It's realizing that every click, every search, every post,
Yeah.
it's a form of participation.
Okay.
And with that comes responsibility
So,
to ourselves and to the future that we're creating together, really.
wow, this has been quite the deep dive
It has.
from like commodity fetishism to AI-powered futures.
Yeah, we've covered it all.
I've gone everywhere.
It's been a really interesting conversation.
It has.
And hopefully this has given our listeners some things to think about.
Oh, I'm sure it has. Because at the end of the day, the most important data point isn't one that some company has collected about us.
Right.
It's the choices that we make,
Yeah.
the actions that we take. It's the future that WE decide to create. And on that note, that's it for this deep dive into the world of data and capitalism. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep shaping the digital landscape